Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So it's my first time at Gotham, and it's my first time talking here. I'm Chloe. I've been a content creator since 2015 and professionally since 2019. And in this world of entrepreneurship and being a freelancer and working in the creative field, I have learned a lot around being disciplined and being really hard with myself, but also how to get a little softer. So this is my journey of finding balance. So first, I want to take a moment to define softness, and I think it means something different to everyone, so depending on context. So when you think about softness or the word soft right now, what pops up in your mind? What is it? A word? Is it a texture? Something you can smell? Something you can hear? Yeah, so think about a word. Does everyone has a word or something in head? And keep it. Soft. So, of course, depending on which side we look at soft, and depending on when in your life you ask yourself, what does soft mean to you? It might mean something positive, or it might be associated with something negative. So, I know for me, like back in a few years ago, like being soft was associated with something more negative. That was, I thought, oh, if I'm soft, then I lack discipline, I'm weak, I'm a bit passive, like I'm not strong, you know. Or maybe it's something positive. It shares meaning of being caring, being more flexible and gentle and receptive, or something more ease. So, for example, we see softness in nature, and when we think, oh, softness, it doesn't have a strong impact. Actually, in nature, we can see that softness is actually shaping the world in a very quiet way, but in a very profound way too. And usually also that tends to last. And it's softer. It's a soft way to create change as well. So with my story, so I've been a content creator on YouTube, Instagram, and now TikTok, because I have to follow up with what's happening. And, you know, so here on the top, you have some pictures of some thumbnails of YouTube videos I did a few years back now. And it was a lot about productivity and being efficient and, doing a lot. And that's how I would really see how valuable I am and how I would, define success in a way. And I really came in that working field with like this whole girl boss trend, and I definitely took it with me at the beginning, and it definitely brought me some really positive aspects because it taught me structure and it taught me discipline that I had to impose on myself on my own because I didn't have a boss above me. But as you know, things go, I slowed down. I learned to slow down. So a little bit more about just my upbringing and what all led to this place was that I was brought up in a family where it was really seen as something positive to be doing a lot. We would go on holidays and we would not sit still, ever. This is me when I was maybe like 2 or 3. I could barely walk. I was already put on skis. So I was very brought up in this very active family. My parents worked more like regular 9-to-5 jobs. And also, especially my dad valued like sport as like this achievement, like if you're doing a really strong sport. And when I was little, I really loved horses, so I wanted to do horseback riding, and I did for many years. But my dad always said, like, no, that's not a sport. Like this is this is just a hobby, you know? And then I started to get really inspired by triathletes. So I was like, okay, well, if I do triathlon, then that's a sport. He can't say it's not a sport. And so I was really looking up to people who were pushing boundaries and were really hard with themselves. And I became that person in work, in sports, in different areas of my life. And I think at a point it kind of became my identity and something that I really related to as myself. And the tricky thing was a lot of people would also look up to me for these things. And that's, I think, like, in a way, like reinforced what I was thinking of. It's a good thing. But it was obviously putting a lot of pressure on myself too, and not always being very gentle and soft with myself. So I think, like, when it became an identity, it was harder to break away from. And just like things in life, some things tend to bend, but hard things tend to break. And so I had a burnout, and I really broke down. And although I had reached many goals that I had set myself, and I had to take a different approach, I learned to, slow down and do things a little bit differently. And I had to shift my perspective. In a world that celebrates hustle and grind, I had to allow softness in my life. And eventually, over time, I realized, like, this is like a quiet revolution, because a lot of people don't allow themselves that. And it's not something that is in your face, that is really pushy and out there, but it's about really taking your power back in a gentle way. And I see also, like, the rise in need for soft skills in the world in general, in relationships, in corporate world. This is not something we used to talk about a lot back in the days, and now it's actually a very resilient type of strength, because it's something that we can sustain over time. So I learned to adding softness to my roughness and roughness to my softness, because I got to a point also where I had become too soft, and I had no structure, no discipline in my life, and I felt a bit lost, to be honest. So now I'm trying to find a balance and an equilibrium between the two, and sometimes that looks like taking my work to a very soft and comfy place, and just making, like, productive things or structure work for me, as opposed to really constricting me and feeling very forced to do certain things a certain way. Softness really encourages us. I don't love forces, I should have changed that word. Encourages us to slow down, and slowing down makes us focus on one thing at a time. So that actually makes us enjoy the little things more and appreciate every single step. And maybe that could look like putting less things on your to-do list, and really focusing on one thing at a time. And in the end, I realized, okay, but like that is also productivity. At the end of the day, I finished my day, I did everything that I wanted and that I needed to do, but I didn't feel stressed, I didn't feel constricted and hard in myself. So that makes us more focused. It allows us to experience less resistance. Things flow a lot more when we approach things in a softer way. And one big thing was that it taught me to focus on progress over completion. For a long time, I was very goal-oriented. And once I achieved this goal, I was like, okay, so what's next? And at some point, I was like very satisfied with those goals. So I was like, okay, well, but like, I don't want more of that. So like, what does that look like? How can I continue to grow and evolve in a way that is sustainable and soft over time for my health and for my business? It also shows us how to listen inwards. It comes from inwards as opposed to outwards, in the sense that if we really ask ourselves deep down what it is that we want and what we need, you know, how we can make today a really good day, and a few things come to our mind, it's not just gonna be maybe work-oriented. It will add different things of like what you need as a human being. It makes us more human. To be softness, we're not machines. it's really trusting ourselves in like our inner rhythms and season, and trusting that sometimes you will feel more soft and you need to add structure. Sometimes we need to add more softness, but I think in this time and day and age, usually we need more softness with ourselves. So what does the practice of softness looks like? One big one for me, and that's something you can have with yourself, is to learn about self-compassion and guilt-free rest. The way I was brought up was not really teaching me a lot of these skills, so that's something I had to learn later on. And it's actually very liberating, so I encourage you to do that, to try that too. With others, it became about listening rather than responding more. I was someone who tried to always have a point and debate with someone, and now it's like, okay, how can I listen more to that person and continue the conversation by being curious? In creativity, so for me, with making videos, it was to play more, to experiment, and also allowing new ideas to flow. I used to check, okay, what is popular on YouTube, what works, and then kind of try to force myself into that format just because it might get a lot of views. Now I'm trusting that my authentic ideas will come, and actually in the end I'm a lot more proud of my work, but it's also giving myself the time to create, and especially in a creative field, we need space and other activities than the one we do to spark creativity in the field that we do. So for me, for example, I do videos for a living, but like writing in my journal or drawing or doing ceramics, it really brings a lot of creativity and ideas and inspiration into my work. And lastly, in structure, which when we think of softness, how is structure compatible with softness? Well, I think that there is a way we can create gentle systems that creates a structure that is a support for you and your work. So really finding rules and systems that have softer rules and more banded boundaries, so that we feel free actually in that container that we create for ourselves. So in the end, I realized actually being soft, it taught me a lot of respect to myself, of care, and also of compassion, but that also is the way we treat ourselves, is the way we encourage others to treat ourselves too. And it was, in a way, very powerful in a soft way, and I think that it changed a lot and taught me how to say no and put boundaries in a way that is being respected and very loving for everyone. So now if we think of like redefining softness now that we've had this talk, what does it mean to you now? Is it still the same word you had in the beginning? Maybe you have other ideas of what softness means to you or could mean to you now, and maybe where do you think you could add softness, or do you want to add more softness into your life? Is it in work, at home, a little bit in everything? So my invitation to you is to notice one moment in the coming weeks, maybe more than one moment, where you choose softness instead of hardness. You can keep a diary of it, and maybe you will notice. It will, if it's not natural, it will feel weird maybe at first. But yeah, this is my invitation to you. So we're finished, and now we have some time for some questions. So. Yes?
Great job on the presentation.
Okay.
An apt topic, and very nice design.
Thank you.
And so now that you've learned more about softness, what is the progression for you? How do you incorporate softness? Like, let's talk very practically. Like
yes.
Today, what
Yes.
on a very practical level?
So I'm still defining it in some areas for sure. One of which was to create more time in my life for the things that I truly wanted inside. Like, I've always wanted to get a dog. This year I got a dog, and it's brought so much softness in my life. And and that dog also has taught me a lot about softness and being present. So to really make time for the little things, to have my breakfast not while reading my emails, really being with myself or doing something that I like, to not. I used to have, the iCalendar where you have like the time block. I used to time block my whole day, and it was fully packed, and it felt so overwhelming. Now I don't really do that anymore. I write a to-do list, and I maybe have an idea of how long each task is going to take me, but the more important is that I do it, and if it takes me a little longer or a little less, it's not the end of the world. For example, when I have projects or deadline, I tend to anticipate more so that I have more space and freedom to be softer with myself if leading up to that time, I have something coming up. And also with creating content, I think one thing is I'm still trying to, it's establishing it, it's not fully finished and it's constantly evolving, but creating a kind of a content schedule that allows me both to post regularly and be relevant, but at the same time also have flexibility, if I'm traveling or something like that. So that looks like sometimes scheduling posts in advance, so they just go live and I don't have to worry about it. Does that answer the question? You're welcome. Yes?
But can I go further into this question?
Yes.
I thought a lot about it when you were speaking. The ones that are here that know me will say that I'm much more towards the hardness than the softness. But I think something that you said that was very important was these external influence, right? Like your father and everything, which I think that's what people don't realize about me. For example, in my case, there's a lot of the, let's say, outside world that demands my hardness.
Yes.
So how was it for you, this process of actually the internal shift of, like untying these, like your father's approval.
Yes.
Because I'm clearly much older than you, and it's still hard for me to do that.
Yes. I can imagine with kids and with more responsibilities, you need to create more systems. So I think I would encourage you, you probably have a couple minutes every day just with yourself, maybe just straight when you wake up or before you go to bed, to just check in and think about 3 things you can do to be more soft with yourself that day. And it could be just like drinking your morning coffee in a spot you like where you're being undisturbed and just with your thoughts. So it could be very little things. For example, I don't know about like your daily habits, so I can't give advice. But I noticed for me now, so on the public transport, I used to often be on my phone or like being listening to a podcast or being productive, like reading a book or something. Now I actually allow space sometimes to just be there and breathe. And that's I realize it calms the nervous system down a lot because we're always going from one thing to the next. And even if it's something that does us good, if we're not giving ourselves space in between to just check in and take a moment just to be in the body, then we don't realize that we don't need to fill up that time sometimes. We can just be, it could be we're commuting somewhere, and instead of listening to the radio, we just being in silence. How can you allow certain like breaks and time out in day to day? Does that help? You're welcome. Yes?
I think my question kind of piggybacks on that. It's like when you first go from doing so many things in a day, being super productive, and you say, okay, I'm going to take some time away from all of these distractions because, like you said, we're always, if we have a moment of break, we're on our phone, we take a book.
Yes.
Did you find it really
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes, totally. I think a part of it is sitting in the discomfort initially, because we're not used to it. Yeah, it's just being with the discomfort, or find activities that are calming and soft to you, that you can fill the time with something more soft as opposed to doing nothing at all and just being with your thoughts. So you're still doing something, but something that is more gentle, and that can lead you into being more with your thoughts. That would be, I think it could be a transition. But maybe sometimes being soft with ourselves, it's not about doing nothing, it's about doing what it feels good to you, and being softer. So sometimes it will be like, okay, I just did a lot of computer work, like regular work tasks, and being soft with myself and say like, okay, I haven't fully finished, but I finished, like, I've had a lot of progress of where I wanted to go. I'm very happy so far. I feel like I can't focus. My energy is not there anymore. Maybe it will be like, I don't know, tending to your garden, or, doing some little house chore where you can just be with your thoughts and do something a bit more autopilot. Or take a moment to like read a book, or watch something that you enjoy, take a walk. And then maybe you go back to it, maybe not. Maybe you're like, okay, but it's learning to be satisfied with the progress over focusing so much on the completion of those tasks. It's like, okay, have I moved forward to a point where I'm happy? And that's also where you have to lower the bar with ourselves, because sometimes we put it too high, and then we end up always being frustrated. That it's like we're never actually, at the end of each day, we're like, oh, I still haven't finished because we put so much. One amazing tip I once heard, and I do it sometimes when I feel, oh, I haven't done anything today. Instead of writing the things that I need to do, I write what I have done. And usually I realize I actually have done a lot more than I thought. I thought I had not done and accomplished nothing, but in reality I had done a lot of little things that I was progressing anyways. It's just that I wasn't acknowledging that. So that's a great thing to like have more compassion and looking at the things that you do as opposed to the things you don't do. Yes, or haven't done yet. Yes?
I love everything about this. It's great. It's such a good message. And congratulations on also being a content creator for 10 years, because that's not easy.
Thank you.
So I see that this is a very personal journey that you've gone from the beginning and being very performance-driven, completion-driven. But so much of your personal journey has been in the public eye. How has your followers and your fan base who were following you maybe for tips and hacks to be efficient, and then now your content seems much more fluid, flowing, slow, soft?
That's a good question. I don't feel like I've received a lot of comments like specifically about that. But definitely it's maybe people would describe my content now as like less inspiring in that sense of like productivity and achievement, but more inspiring in how soft it is, or I don't know. But I was thinking about this specifically this morning on the bus, and I was thinking like, there is also definitely as a society, we are wired to value the skills of being very productive, efficient, doing lots of things. And we look up, and I think I also, as myself, started to look up to people who were softer with themselves, to myself get inspired to be a little bit more like that. So it's like, I think I'm okay with the fact that I don't really convey the same energy anymore, but because that energy that I was conveying previously did not, in the end, like serve me really well. So I think like that makes me feel at peace with what I create now and what I share with the world. Obviously, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea if they're looking for something more, hard. Yes. Yeah. And one more thing is I see I mean, as you said, like 10 years on social media, so much happens. And I've seen my content and my accounts like go through so many stages. And yeah, I think like the audience shifts as we as people shift, especially being public. Like people that resonated with me in the past maybe don't anymore, but I also then attracted people that resonate more with what I share now. So I think it's also just trusting that maybe now my content and my accounts are not so growth oriented anymore, but about being really authentic and yeah, true to who I am and what I believe in now. Yes.
Amazing thing to say.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes?
I have a bit of a related question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just echo, being a content creator for 10 years is incredible. As someone who showed up in all these digital spaces and platforms probably like every day or just so consistently, and with the amount of information that's coming at people, the amount of content, the amount of input, how have you navigated? Like part of it is creating, but how have you navigated just being in digital spaces so much and like still reconnecting with yourself, your body, all that?
I think a lot of it is linked to the identity part. I used to identify a lot with what I had become on the internet, but it's not who I am, that's just what I do now. And now I see it really as my work and what it is that I do for work, but not who I am anymore. So I'm able to really draw a line between what is my professional life and what is my private life, just in like any other job. The only difference is that I appear publicly on it. So that's really been like the biggest shift, I would say, to not really identify with that persona anymore. And just think of myself as a vessel. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any last questions?
Oh, one thing more is to cancel all notifications.
When I feel like I'm like always like still like, and I like hit it in these folders, and I'm still like.
Yes, yes.
It's crazy, and
yes.
I did delete like.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of my friends that don't do this for work, they receive all the notifications and they're like, Claire, but why are you never on your phone? I'm like, no, because I don't have any. So
Yeah.
I don't have the trigger.
Someone who's a content creator, and I like when I thought of Soft, I think it's a great fit for you. You're someone who's more present, I would say, than myself or other people that like if I have a lunch with or something. It's like it's your job, but you're like not checking your phone or not looking at your phone. You're not like recording. Like,
Yeah, because if I have lunch with you, I'm on a lunch break. I'm on a like work break.
See, because you really
Yes.
like, keep those things separate and it
I
take
think,
over
yeah.
your life, even though we feel like, oh, I'm seeing her whole life like on YouTube, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's very.
Yeah, one also a thing that Sophie mentioned this morning is like she was seeing stories of me being in Berlin because I was there earlier this week, and she's like,
Tomorrow.
"Is she still coming?" So I never post like real time usually.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I pressed something.
It's okay.
So yeah, that's also one thing. It's like being really present, and then I go home and then I have a moment and I just go through my things and post and. Yeah.
No, I assumed it was like a scheduled post.
Otherwise, I can never be present.
Make sure we have the same data line.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's thanks to our global sponsor, Adobe, who has a lot of different initiatives and supports creatives. So they have Grow to Pro, which has launched this month and kind of shows some creatives and how they are using Adobe to level up their creative career.
So we just wanted to see whose first time it is at Gotham here in this location. Oh yeah, quite a few. Yeah, so obviously you know they have a co-working space here and also in the Flan. And they wanted to let you know that on the 30th, which is the Thursday of October, they're going to have a Halloween party here at the Gab. So feel free to go ask the staff at the reception for all the information. It starts at 6 p.m. That's as far as I know. And then also they have quiz nights and they have Mario Kart championships. I would love to join that because that sounds really fun. So So yeah, they have been sponsoring our events as an event space. So they're really thankful. The Swiss co-working. Oh, sorry, I should have known these slides were here. Yeah, this is their event space in the floor. It's super cute. And then, of course, with food, we have our lovely breakfast spread from Trigo. They have been a great supporter of Creative Mornings in Lausanne, our chapter. And they have their famous cinnamon rolls, and they have a bunch of pastries. So they also do catering. They also do gift boxes. So if ever you have, an event you need to go to and you want to bring some goodies with you, you can ring them up. They have 2 locations. There's one, Sugar, and there's another one on Avenue de France. And then they also have Mangio in Bevo in the Flan, which also has some really tasty Italian treats. More savory. Yeah, and then we have Sleepy Bear, which is Sugar also, just across from Yoga Flames. They do amazing coffee, and they are just fantastic. So thank you.